Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor, online with Tom Santinello. What's going on, Tommy Guns?
What's going on? Good morning.
Tom, listen, today we're talking about bold predictions. We are so close to the season. I could smell it. I could taste it. It's almost here. Tom, are you ready for the game opener, the season opener with the Chiefs and the Texans? Are you pumped about this game?
I'm ready. What is it, 2 weeks from now?
The 10th, yeah. So we're almost there.
Weeks.
We need football in our life, and the anticipation is crazy. Now, listen, if you guys haven't tuned into the Wednesday show, this is Tom Santinello. We do a fire and ice show, and Tom is a busy guy. As you can see, he's on his phone replying to all the ladies there. Listen, what's that?
I was checking the stock market.
Listen, Tom's a busy guy. We know it. He was a former NFL agent. This guy's been around the NFL. Are you an agent? You do everything football, don't you, Tom? What's that?
Yeah, just a little bit now, not as much.
He does everything football related, knows the reality aspect of it. We're talking bold predictions today with Tom Santinello. Before we get into this, guys, leave your fantasy questions below, smash a thumbs up, and of course, get that 16-round draft session. I've linked it below. It's going to help you guys crush your leagues. All the sleepers, breakouts, auto players are drafted in each round, omitting all the terrible players so you don't end up with any big bad busts. Stay away from the Sheeps. Get 16 rounds, link below. I encourage you guys and implore you guys to get it. It will really help you guys get that competitive and unfair advantage over the competition. All right, so bold predictions, open discussion here. We're just going to talk, man. Just have some fun here on some things that for fantasy and reality, some bold predictions that me and Tom think could be actually happening, right? So, Tom, do you have a bold prediction you want to kick off with?
I'll start with the quarterback position, a guy I like. I think Gardner Minshew finishes top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah. I like it. I think the Jaguars are better than people think. I think they're only what's holding them back. Couple defensive issues. I think they got the line's okay. I think they got a couple good young receivers, a top running back who will be on his contract year in form. I love the kid Minshew. It's only his second season. He's got the confidence. The fans love him. The teammates love him. I don't like the coaching staff there as much, but I do like the offensive coordinator, Jay Gruden. Finally has a good quarterback. When he had Alex Smith, Minshew's, I think, is a better version of Alex Smith, and Alex Smith was performing well until he had that gruesome injury. So I'm going to go out and say, I just like the kid. I like the moxie. I think he has the it factor, something you can't teach. And he's got an arm. He succeeded in Washington State. I know they threw the ball a lot, but I think the kid's going to be that top 10 quarterback.
That's a bold prediction. And I think we were looking at the stats, I think last show or a couple shows ago, you and I talked about this. Everybody going absolutely berserker. I mean, absolutely crazy for Kyler Murray, saying he's the next coming of Lamar Jackson, that he's the real deal. He's the guy. He's going to have an amazing season. But when we looked at it, Tom, now Kyler Murray last year had 285 fantasy points. Gardner Minshew 230, right? So the difference of what? Oh, sorry. What did he have here? Yeah, 285.
He played more games.
Yes, Kyler played more. That's a good point. Kyler played 16 games. Minshew played 14. Okay, 229 points to 285. That's what Kyler had last year. Now I got to ask you here. The difference here was the 4 rushing touchdowns with Kyler Murray and the rushing yards. But overall, had Minshew played those 2 games, we got similar quarterbacks here, right? I mean,
getting one big thing.
What's that?
The Cardinals played better later in the season when they did not throw the ball as much. When Kingsbury changed his offense, and he said he was going to go into this season doing that as well. Kyler Murray was holding onto the ball, making mistakes. He didn't play well at all last year. And then when he was running the ball more, the last 6 or 7 games, when he changed his offense to less that spread college attack, Murray's stats suffered. So I'm going, besides Minshew as a top 10, I'm going he finishes better than Kyler Murray this year.
Wow, that's bold. I like it. You're wearing the hat today. Where's the bald head?
Yeah.
He's wearing the hat. So when the hat comes, it's kind of like
morning, a little sunny out, 90 degrees.
Kind of like Over the Top. If you guys all remember that 80s movie with Sylvester Stallone where he puts that hat backwards and he gets the power and he wins the arm wrestles. Yeah. Tom actually puts a hat on in general, and then he comes up with these bold predictions, which are crazy. I don't think he beats Kyler. I think Kyler's got better weapons, but
talk about that.
It's that. What's that?
Write it down now.
Okay, we got yours down.
During injuries, I'm saying Minshew's going to go ahead of him I just, and listen, you could go ahead of somebody being a bad quarterback, just getting a lot of opportunities. Like Teddy Bridgewater is going to throw the ball a lot. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but Carolina has a shitty defense. So, but I'm saying overall, and I do think the Jaguars are going to be better than expected in that very tough division of the AFC South.
Right. All right, fair enough. I'm going to give you a bold prediction. Let's keep picking on Kyler Murray here. We're both being really bold here. I'm going to continue on with the Kyler Murray roast here. Listen, I like Kyler. Obviously, he's talented, but I mean, last year, and I'm not comparing it to last year, but Baker Mayfield, everybody loved Baker. I'm like, be careful with Baker. He's going to bust. Now, I'm not saying Kyler's going to bust. Not the same situation, but I will say I think he's a little overrated based on his ADP and what people are expecting out of him. He's currently sitting number 5 amongst quarterbacks. There's a ton of quarterbacks I think will beat him in fantasy points. So here's a bold prediction for you. And you're not going to like this because you're not a fan of Ryan Tannehill.
No.
But Ryan Tannehill beats Kyler Murray in fantasy points. And let me tell you why before you get angry. Ryan Tannehill finished 22nd amongst quarterbacks last year, 224 points. And he was averaging around 20 points a game. Project that out. 6 games that he didn't play with the Titans, he would have had around 330 points. The second fantasy point finisher was Dak Prescott with 337 points, not just behind, but well behind the number 1 Lamar Jackson with 415 points. The guy that finished third in fantasy points was Russell Wilson with 328. So Tannehill would have been right in the top 5 mix, man, had he played the full season. Now, he's safe, efficient, decent O-line. Henry there. A.J. Brown takes a step up. I like him. I know you don't like him, but what do you think of this prediction?
I mean, I don't like him. Listen, you're right. He has a good O-line. They did lose their starting right tackle, Conklin. I think he went to Cleveland. They did draft somebody in the first round. I don't know how much that'll affect Tannehill. When they had their success, similar to Arizona, Tannehill played not as well, and they handed the ball off more to Henry those last 8 games. Now, I don't think Henry's going to produce like he did those last 8 games and in the playoffs. I think more of the burden is going to be on Tannehill this year, and I don't think Tannehill can handle that kind of burden. Now, he's a professional. He's can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, possibly like a stopgap guy, but he's not a guy that you want to put the ball in his hands. Similar to a guy like, say, Phillip Rivers is a guy you'd rather have the ball in his hands, but at this stage in his career, I'd rather have a guy like Phillip Rivers that can at least make those throws. I don't think Tannehill can make a lot of throws, especially when he's going to throw the ball. Hence, look at last year. He cannot play from behind. So, I don't think Tannehill is a good quarterback in the NFL.
You're thinking reality. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. I don't feel that.
Fantasy-wise either. I mean, I just think for him to have that success, Henry needs to be the threat he was last year. I don't think, just like you say, McCaffrey can't put the same numbers up as last year. Those last 8 games in the playoffs, Henry's not going to do that again. So I just don't think he will put the numbers up.
I don't know, man.
There's going to be more turnovers. I think Henry's going to have a little help in the backfield this year. A.J. Brown will step up and be a great player because he's a stud 1 wide receiver, but I just don't think Tannehill has it in him to put up those numbers. And that play action, I just don't think so.
Well, that's why we're having fun having a debate. That's my bold prediction. All right, do you got another bold prediction for us?
Yeah, I'll say Aaron Jones finishes outside the top 20 for running back.
I like it. I agree.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair one. I think he's a 1,000-yard rusher. I just think his touchdowns were inflated last year. I think he's got help coming in this year. That's going to be a little bit more than help. It's going to be more of a 1-2 punch, and I think a lot of those touchdowns are going to be gone to to the rookie coming in. Was it AJ Dillon out of Boston College?
Yep.
So and don't be surprised if he takes that job eventually. Contract year, I understand it, but hey, I think if they wanted to pay him, they would have already. So that's my prediction.
I agree. I mean, he's only finished 1 out of the 3 seasons he's played. Doesn't finish seasons, had a pinnacle year last year. I think they're going to throw the ball more. So yeah, man, I definitely agree with this bold prediction. You ready for this one? This one's a little out there, but I think it's viable. I heard he's doing really well in training camp. I don't know if you're a fan of him at all, but Robbie Anderson finishes. This is really bold, and I don't really see it really happening because I just simply based on volume that I think DJ Moore is going to get. I still think Anderson's more of a deep threat, but here's a prediction. Robbie Anderson, who's sitting right now 58th on the consensus rankings in PPR amongst wide receivers, is going to beat DJ Moore, who's sitting 14th in PPR in rankings in fantasy points. What do you think? Do you think there's a chance in hell that Robbie Anderson becomes the wide receiver one in Carolina? New coach, right? New coach, new quarterback. Could Robbie Anderson be the one there?
I don't think so. I think he may get some opportunities and some touchdowns. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to be behind. And just from being behind, they're obviously going to throw the ball with this offensive coordinator. I think they got Curtis Samuel, who they want to get involved as well in the deep game. I think Robbie Anderson's going to be kind of like their Will Fuller, a player like that. Yeah. I think DJ Moore is all around. I don't think Robbie Anderson has the skills and the talent to be a one wide receiver in the NFL. I think he's more of a number two, more of a, not a three like a slot guy, but more of a guy who will go deep on you, spread the field, take some shots. But I don't think he has that route tree to be a one.
Okay, you can explain this to me because I know fantasy better than anybody else on the planet. What is so special? Why do the Concheeps have DJ Moore so high? Like, I mean, last year he had a good season. He had 4 receiving touchdowns, nothing phenomenal, 1,175 yards on 135 targets, 87 receptions. I'm looking at these numbers. The year before, 2 touchdowns. He's not a touchdown machine, right? He's cracked 1,000 yards once in his career. He's only played 2 seasons. He's got a new quarterback throwing him to him. Christian McCaffrey gets the bulk of those receptions. Everybody has Christian McCaffrey on this pedestal, right? Thinking he's going to achieve what he did in the receiving game. What is so special about DJ Moore? I'm not seeing it. I don't see an elite receiver when I look at DJ Moore.
Listen, DJ Moore is a very good wide receiver. He's got all the skills, and he's not like a big body guy, but he's 5'11", I think 220, 210, something like that. I think he's a very good player. I think he can run the route tree. I don't think he excels in one area. I think he's just a very good wide receiver. And he showed, and this is also going into his 3rd year, where a lot of people have to predict a guy when you go into your 3rd year. That's when you're going to break out and go boom, be that guy.
Could happen.
That's what people do. 2nd, 3rd. Listen. The growth from the 1st year to the 2nd year was great. It was great. From the 2nd year to the 3rd year is when you kind of make it or break it a lot of times in this league. Hence, look at all the quarterbacks, the Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen in the Bills. He has to take a step up stat-wise and passing-wise. He ran the ball too much. And also the other kid, Darnold. This is the year, guys, from that draft class, you're going to see either excel or flop. You're saying, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to excel or flop, but I just think coming out of college, he also came out as a junior, was a little raw. So I think he has more talent than those other guys on that team just to be that go-to guy, a go-to number 1 receiver, maybe not electric and sexy, but just a go-to guy.
Well, we're going to have to see. I'm not really sold. And is Bridgewater going to be efficient enough to feed him the ball consistently? How is that going to play out?
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Bridgewater, even before the injury. I think the kid's got some talent. I think the kid, I think he's more of a game manager, above average style quarterback. It's just, in New Orleans, people that defend him say he wasn't asked to do so much. Carolina was pretty adamant because they were questioned, why did you pay Bridgewater $18 million a year? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, why? So they come out and they defend it. They say, well, because people were saying, well, he can't throw the deep ball, he can't do this, he didn't put up the numbers in New Orleans, and they said he wasn't asked to do that. Now, that the offense wasn't built for that. Well, I wouldn't say that because Drew Brees puts up numbers in that offense. But when you have a backup quarterback come in, you also baby him a little bit and you don't unleash him. So I think he had excellent team around him on offense and defense. He did what he was asked to do, but did he do what he was asked to do because he couldn't do more is the question. So there's a lot of question marks here. However, I will say there's a little more upside to Bridgewater because they aren't going to be a good football team this year. I don't know if he can throw the ball deep. He's never been that pure deep passer. I don't think he's a stud. I think he's an average quarterback, and you pay for average quarterbacks in this league when you do not have a quarterback. They didn't believe in Cam Newton. The only other option was Kyle Allen. They traded him to Washington, I believe, for a 5th or 6th round pick or something like that. So what are your options in that situation? Where do you go? They signed Bridgewater, and I think the offensive coordinator, Brady, worked with Bridgewater 2 years ago in New Orleans before he went to LSU to be the offensive coordinator. Okay. So he has experience working with Bridgewater. So he sees something in him that can run his offense. But, it's only deals for a couple, 2-3 years, probably 1 or 2 guaranteed. So it's not they can get out of it, give it a shot.
So I don't want to go off on a tangent here. You just spoke a lot about these guys here, a lot of good insight. Christian McCaffrey, decline big time or what? How much? What do you think of McCaffrey? I see a decline big time.
I see a decline because I think it's a new offense in here. I think there's a lot of adjusting. I think the year he put up was spectacular. Most guys do not duplicate that, but be in this league and be an effective player. Sometimes, they're going to use him more. I think they're going to use him as a decoy a little bit more this year. Listen, I'm not saying a decline like he's going to be outside the top 10 or 20. I just still think he'll be a top 10 and top 5 running back, but I just don't think he's going to put up the year he did last year. That usually doesn't happen. I think they're going to, and I think they're going to have more balance in this offense. And instead of checking down and throwing him the ball out the backfield, they're going to take more shots deep. They're going to try to be more explosive on offense. And you usually can't do that by getting the running back the ball in the backfield.
Exactly. And that's why they weren't going to make,
and then they're not a pound it running team either. But I think it doesn't mean, look, he was the offensive coordinator last year with Clyde Helaire. For Kansas City. Look how we used him last year. I'm not saying he's going to use him that way this year, but I think he's going to use him. He's going to be the one running back there, no doubt about it, obviously. But I think he's going to get some balls, but I don't think he's going to get as many balls on the backfield over there. They're going to take more shots.
Okay. Do you have another one now? It's your turn, I believe, right? We went off on a huge tangent there. Who is your next bold prediction? Do you have anyone, or do you want me to go? I think it's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Because I went Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is going to beat DJ Moore, and we got off on this huge tangent, which was good. A lot of information.
Yeah, just information and intel. I don't know how much this one weighs in the fantasy world, but I'll say, I don't think Dwayne Haskins keeps that starting job in Washington. I think Alex Smith is going to end up getting that job if he's healthy, or Kyle Allen will beat him from it eventually. I don't like Haskins in Washington.
That's not a huge bold prediction, but definitely.
Yeah.
Alex Smith coming off that big injury. So
I've been saying that for months, that it's his job if he's healthy. But everyone's talking Haskins because he was the number 1 pick. But I wouldn't go too fast and give him the job yet.
Right. No, I definitely see that. I'll give you one here while you think of a more bold one than that. That's just a prediction.
You want
I need more bold, Tom. I need more bold. I know you've got a list of them there. I don't think that was the most bold one. I'll give you one here. This is pretty bold here, and a lot of people will turn their heads and raise their eyebrows. But are you ready for this one? You might want to hang on to your seat here. Like, hang on tight, like really tight, because you're going to fall off your chair.
Okay, go ahead.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
This is bold. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen. All right. A lot of buildup to this one. David Montgomery. Yes, the Bears running back, the guy that finished 24th last year, 242 attempts, 3.7 yards per carry, only 6 touchdowns because Nagy was being cute with the offense, didn't really give him the opportunity. David Montgomery will beat Clyde Edwards-Helaire in fantasy points for fantasy football 2020. Man, is that bold. Average draft position for David Montgomery right now, 5th round. Average draft position for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 6th overall. He's coming off as early as the 6th overall, 1st round versus 5th round. What are your thoughts? Is this crazy and bold, or could this actually happen?
No, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. Montgomery, if Chicago takes a step, I think he's going to be a focal point in that offense finally. And when Nick Foles wins that job, which I think he will, I think they're going to have to revolve a little bit more around the running game. Yeah. I don't think Clyde the Glide is going to get the opportunity, to be a star-studded running back in this league this year. He's a rookie. I think he'll get some opportunity, but not enough volume. So I can tend to agree with you on that one. I can tend to agree with you. I know you're a fan of Montgomery, and I know you're not as high on Clyde over there, so I can definitely see that happening.
I don't want to tell people not to draft Helaire in the 1st round, so I'm suggesting, go for him. I like Jacobs a little bit better at the ADP. I feel a little safer. Do you feel a little safer with Jacobs than Helaire this year to get volume?
With Jacobs? I like Jacobs.
Okay, yeah, so do I.
He's the man over there, so like what are you going to do? I just think he's the man over there.
Right. So I feel more comfortable with Jacobs. So again, I don't want to deter people from Helaire. All I'm saying is that, I feel safer with Jacobs. And I tell people, if you get Helaire, make sure you go robust RB. Get yourself a Gurley after a David Johnson and Montgomery. Cover yourself. It's that simple, because there's a chance, the Chiefs could bring in somebody else or just not give him full volume, or his pass protection goes down the drain. And because they got to protect their investment, Mahomes. That's what I'm thinking. So just be cautious with Helaire. All right. So do you have one for us here? We'll do one more for you, one for me.
I think, this is the year of the rookie running back, where we're going to see 3 rookie running backs finish in the top 20 in running backs. But I really think J.K. Dobbins right now is number 32 for running backs. I think he finishes in the top 15 of running backs this year. And he may not start the season as strong, but I think the last 10, 12 games is when for the playoff fantasy push, I think he's the guy.
I think so too, but I mean, something catastrophic has to happen to Ingram, correct?
No, I don't think so. I think Ingram's lost a step. I think he's more of a locker room guy. I think he's not going to. He didn't finish the season as healthy last year. He's going into the last year of his contract. He might have another year, but I don't think they're going to keep him with the money. This is the last guaranteed year, probably something like that. But I don't think catastrophic, because J.K. Dobbins is younger, he's fresher, he's faster. He's built for that offense. And I think that's what I said, though. It may take a few games till they see what they got over there. And they're a running team. They run the ball first. Listen, if there's no secret there, they don't have enough wideouts. I know for a fact they don't have enough wide receivers. They're going to run the ball first. And they might even start off with a 1-2 punch to make him valuable in the beginning. But I think he's going to slowly take over that job by the midway point.
Right.
And Ingram, what did Ingram had 1,000 yards last year? Not a huge touchdown scorer. I just think Dobbins is the better fit and a younger fit, and he's the future.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really sold on him at all, based on the situation, because we know Lamar likes to run, Ingram likes to run the ball. If they're still there, it's going to be an issue. Maybe for Dynasty, I like him maybe next year. And again, maybe late this year, but not a guy that I'm really investing in.
See, I don't think Lamar is going to run the ball as much. I think they're trying to get him off that. So I think he's going to I wouldn't worry about that this year as much. Granted, remember Deshaun Watson would run the ball a little. He cut it down a lot. So I'm going all in on J.K. Dobbins this year to steal that job from Ingram eventually.
Fair enough. See, I like Cam Akers better. I think Cam Akers is in more of a prime position to succeed. What do you think of Cam Akers?
I like him. Listen, obviously that he doesn't have as much competition as a J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. I like those 3 guys to finish in the top 20 because they're going to win those jobs.
Right.
Okay? Now, Cam Akers, how many rookie running backs can finish in the top 20? I just named you 3. Cam Akers, it could be number 4. Clyde the Glide could be number, 5? We have the year of the rookie running back right here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm excited. I'm excited about Taylor getting that hot hand, man. I'm super excited. All right.
So, is that your prediction, Cam Akers, or no? Or you're just talking?
Well, no, I'm just talking generally.
I like them. I think it's a good move there. The Rams, here's the deal. I think the Rams are changing it up a little bit. They're trying – listen, they made a lot of mistakes going after a lot of star players, and those contracts have bombed. They got Jared Goff, who's an okay quarterback. They got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. But I think they're going to – Sean McVay, was a victim of bad salary cap management. Gurley is a stud, but they got rid of Cooks, overpaid him. But I think he just wants some weapons on there. I think they're going away from those star receivers and just going after kind of like Kansas City. They ended up getting lucky with Tyreek Hill later in the draft. Also, he had those domestic issues coming out of college, but he's kind of building that offense where there's just a bunch of good players. Who's the tight end they have in the Rams? They just re-signed for big money.
Higbee?
Big Tyler Higbee. They got him. They got Cooper Kupp. They got these guys that are good players, but they're going away from the greatness and just trying to get some good players that can plug in. And I think Akers will fit in that offense. Takes away from volume where you spread it, but I like them. Anyways, go ahead.
Efficiency. It's all about efficiency for these guys. All right, I'll give you one more here, and everybody's sleeping on him, and it bothers me. And what kind of show of bold predictions would it be if I didn't include David Johnson, sitting 21st amongst running back rankings right now? Now that's in standard. So in PPR, he's still in and around the same. He's 21st, so it doesn't change in regard. I'm looking at the rankings now from different sites, and it comes together at he's 21st. Guys like Melvin Gordon, who are sharing the backfield with Phillip Lindsay. Guys like Chris Carson, who's sharing it with Carlos Hyde. Guys like Nick Chubb, who's sharing it with Kareem Hunt, okay? So David Johnson, all right, from 2016 is going to finish top 5 in fantasy points amongst running backs. That's the prediction. That's it.
Okay.
Very viable.
Well, top 5, before you get on your high horse over here. Five. We got McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott. Okay, those
Henry,
could say are locks. I don't know if Henry's a lock for a top 5.
You're right.
Then you got Henry, Kamara, Cook, Chubb, Mixon, Jacobs. So I think, like, listen, there's no such thing as a lock, but closest ones you're going to get are the McCaffrey, Barkley, and Elliott, right? Those
Yes.
tier 1. Then you're going to have, like, guys fighting. I think Miles Sanders, like, he's 11th ranked right now. I think he could take a jump into the top 10, top 7. You got guys like, I know you don't love Nick Chubb because you got guys that are going to steal some of his thunder. You got, like, Mixon. I don't think he's got the capabilities to be a top 5 guy this year. Josh Jacobs, maybe. So you do have some, you got maybe a Fournette, but he's not as versatile in the passing game. I don't think Kenyon Drake is way overrated. Austin Eckler never really hasn't, he's a little unproven in the running game. So you do have some room for somebody to sneak in and get those like 4th and 5th spots. I don't like Kamara in that high. So is David Johnson the guy to do that?
He's hungry. I've been watching him. He looks strong and leaned out. He does look strong, leaned out. He looks focused. He's putting out motivational quotes. He's angry, man. He got screwed by the Cardinals. He's ready to prove that he's the deal. And obviously the coaching staff and the GMs there over in Houston obviously believe in him, and they're going to run him to the ground to prove that they made the right decision here.
I know you got your issues with Le'Veon Bell, but I also can see him moving up on this board, better O-line. He's 22 right now. Listen, talent-wise, the guy's a stud. They got a better O-line. I don't know how good the left tackle rookie is. The quarterback's in his 3rd year. So I see him moving up as well. I don't know if it's as bold, but a lot of people are down on him this year. So I see, they don't have the best wide receiver course, which I think will help Bell, because I think Bell is going to make up for it in the passing game. If Adam Gase has a brain, the way they used Bell, especially when Steelers were injured at wide receiver with suspensions and injuries, that's when Bell excels. He's going to get his 20 carries a game, but that's when they started to put him as a wide receiver. And I think if Gase has a brain, he's going to start to use Bell in that role. And you're going to see Bell catapult in the top 15, top 10, maybe even, I don't know if he can go top 5 anymore, but I can see Bell also. And that's a little boldness to steal some of your boldness with Johnson.
Currently sitting right now at 19th right now on the consensus rankings in PPR. I think 22nd in standard. So I mean, he's going to be safe, but I'm not really over the moon over Le'Veon Bell. That's for sure.
They struggle at receiver and they need help at receiver. So I think a smart coach, and I have my doubts about Gase. So maybe it won't happen there. I mean, could Gase be the first coach going mid-season? Possibly. But I think if used right, Bell, and he was also off a year, remember?
Yes.
So I get that. I know you're more apt to see a Todd Gurley finish in the top 5. David Johnson's going to get opportunity. I heard some rumblings down there in Houston. Maybe next week we can get a guy from Houston on the phone. I got a guy over there I know pretty well.
Perfect. Let's do it. I would like to get as much insight on it as possible.
Love your guy.
All right, man. That wraps up some bold predictions here for you. Having some fun here as we ramp up towards the season. Make sure you guys get the 16-round draft solution link below. Join us every Wednesday with Fire and Ice. And Tom and I are going to be breaking down a lot of matchups for you, a lot of exciting stuff happening. We may add another show with Santinello, Tom Santinello in the season. But, man, am I excited for the season, Tom. Are you ready?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different. I'm not as ready as usual, but so it's just no preseason game, so it doesn't feel like it's there, so it's different.
I agree. All right, guys. Thanks. Smash thumbs up. Leave your fantasy questions below, and we are out. Hope you enjoyed some really wild, bold predictions. Let's go, David Johnson. We'll talk soon.